Okay. Now I'm just a little bit confused. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about something, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. But if you remember a couple weeks ago, I did a video on the new CDL rule changes that are coming out, on how it's going to affect how people get their new CDLs, right? And I got a lot of comments on that video, and the extremes were pretty wide, right? You had a lot of people talk about how it's just government overreach, too much regulation, making it harder to get your CDL, because they say you're talking about truck driver shortage, but now you're going to make it harder to get the CDL. Okay. Now you got the other side, complete other side of that spectrum, that say, hey, this is a good thing, because all these drivers that are coming out of school and these new guys don't know what they're doing. They're causing wrecks. So maybe if you make it a little bit more thorough in the schools, when these guys come out of schools and get into the real world, they'll have a little bit more on the ball on what's going on. Now, I'm just a little bit confused about one side. The side that says it's too much regulation as it is, right? Now, you can have that opinion, and it might be true to some respect. But if you're also going to complain about new drivers, Swift and all these guys causing accidents and backing into people in the truck stops, if you're gonna have that opinion, it's kind of hard to hold the same opinion about too much government overreach. It's just another way to make the schools money. You should want it to be a little thorough at school, right? Now, a lot of people complain mostly about the new rules is you have to go to school. You can't go the old school way. Now, I don't know what the statistics are, but I don't think a whole lot of guys were still doing the old school way, getting their dad and their uncles to train them and then going down and taking their test. I don't think that's happening a whole lot anymore, but you can't do it anymore. So, now here's where the real confusion for me comes in. This administration just last week came out with a plan to make it easier to recruit and retain truck drivers, right? Hey, that sounds good. Let's make it easier to get these guys in there, right? And get them in to the schools. The problem with it is the plan that they came up with, they said they want to reduce the obstacles for people to get their CDL. Okay, that right off, just on face value, doesn't jive with making it harder by having the longer schools, registered, certified schools. Those two don't exactly go together, right? And the way that they say they're going to do it is they're going to put in more outreach for veterans, for women and minorities, which that's a great thing in itself. Now, I guess making that outreach makes it easier for people to know that they can come be truck drivers. But then the other thing is they're going to start an enhanced program for teen truckers. It's an apprenticeship, a teen trucker apprenticeship. So we talked about that several videos ago on whether 18 to 21 year olds should be interstate or not. And my opinion is, if you can go from Orange, Texas, all the way to the other side of El Paso, almost 900 miles in Texas, you should be able to go into New Mexico. If you can run intrastate in Texas and be gone for weeks at a time. It's the same thing as interstate. The only difference is you cross the state lines. I think the big impact on that is going to be insurance companies, on whether they're going to hire those younger guys. And they're going to have to address that if they get this teen trucker apprenticeship going. They're going to have to make it easier for these insurers to insure them, for these companies to insure them, or it's not going to work. They're not going to get a whole lot more drivers if they can't insure them, right? So that's my confusion between making it easier to get more truck drivers or making it more thorough and kind of harder to get your CDL. That's a rub there, right? And it's all that is coming out of the same administration. Well, the new CDL rules were a prior administration. I think it started back in 2012 or 16 or something like that. So that's been coming for a while. But again, if you're in the camp of too many guys coming out of schools and getting on the roads today, don't know what they're doing, you should be in favor of making it a little more difficult and making the schools more thorough and making them accountable for who they're putting out. Now, one thing nothing has been said about from the administration is that there's a driver shortage and they want to add all these drivers, but people say there's no driver shortage because you already got truck stops full up every day, the rest areas, the parking areas, the way stations, the shoulders of the road are full of trucks. So there's no way there's a truck driver shortage. Well, that point of view doesn't really hold water because you can have both problems at the same time. You can be short of capacity and drivers and trailers to haul the freight and still be short of parking for all these truck drivers that you need to bring in. So what the administration needs to do is they need to address that fact, the parking, the services, the truck stops. All that needs to be addressed, or you're just going to have problem compounding on the problem if you start bringing in a bunch more guys and the capacity fills up and you're moving the freight, but you're not going to really move that freight with no place to park, right? Anyway, on this new plan, most truck drivers that they talked to in this article that I read didn't agree with it because they just, said the same thing that I was just talking about. Now, the ATA is all for it, right? But there's another couple of trucking groups, OOIDA and a couple others, that don't think it's a good idea for this new plan to make it easier, probably especially with the Team Trucking Apprenticeship Program. Anyway, that's my confusion. Tell me what you think. Go down in the description, check out all my links. Go down in the comments, tell me all your opinions on what we just talked about. If you're interested in coming to work for SIA, the SIA employment website is down there in my description. My email is, shoot me an email. I'll send you my referral info if that's what you want to do. Subscribe to this channel, please. Like this video for me, that'll help me out a lot. And we'll see you later.